Welcome back to another chilling video here at Summer Studios. Today we will be discussing Halloween. Halloween is a time of year full of excitement and fun. But did you know that Halloween and its traditions were almost entirely different? For starters, did you know that Halloween is actually derived from a Norse festival called Samhain? This festival was meant to mark the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. It's believed that during Samhain, spirits of the dead could come back to the world of the living. So people would dress up in costumes to ward off these spirits. Another interesting fact is that jack-o'-lanterns were not made of pumpkin. In fact, carving jack-o'-lanterns is a traditional Irish festivity that involves carving a turnip into the shape of a head and placing it outside the home as a symbol of the harvest. People would then light the turnip on Halloween night to scare away any evil spirits. It wasn't until Samhain found its way to America where pumpkins grew. Much easier thus deciding to use pumpkins instead for the festivity. The next interesting fun fact is that the first known Halloween costume was actually a complete black costume. This was used by trick-or-treating children in the early 1900s to avoid being identified as supernatural creatures like witches or vampires. Trick-or-treating was also originally created as a way for the poor to pray for the lost souls. Instead of candy, they would receive a cake called a soul cake, and to receive this cake, they would have to pray at the doorstep. It wasn't until this tradition began dying out and children in America began adopting it with a twist to prank neighbors, that America decided to take on the tradition using candy as a bribe to stop the children's mischievous antics. That is where the term trick or treat came from. Now, let's cover more fun facts about modern Halloween as we know it today. Did you know that the most popular Halloween costume in the United States is that of a witch? This is actually not so surprising when you think about it. All Hallows Eve, as it's also known, was brought to the United States by European immigrants in the 1800s, and with it, the witch costume. Many young women especially believed that Halloween was the best day for divination and would often seek out fortune tellers to find out the names of their future husbands. This mashup of traditions and beliefs have influenced the holiday to associate Halloween with witches. Let's get spookier. The first known Halloween murder occurred in Haddonfield, New Jersey, in 1982. A 10-year-old girl was found murdered, and it was revealed that the killer had been terrorizing the town for months before the attack. On October 30, 1982, Teresa Trueblood had just left after visiting with her grandparents. When she left, they were giving out candy to trick-or-treaters. Soon after Teresa had left, an unusual man wearing a pillowcase with eye holes knocked on the door. Ethel opened the door and assumed the man wanted candy. He said, "Trick or treat. Give me your money or I'll shoot." Ethel thought this was a prank and tried to remove the man's pillowcase. He clutched it and pulled it down. As Ethel went to get candy, the stranger followed her into the house and pulled a gun on her and Marvin. Somehow, he knew the family had a safe in the basement. This was something only family members knew. He ordered the couple into the basement. He wanted the safe's contents. Marvin had no intention of going into the basement. He had become tired of what he thought was a Halloween prank. After trying to grab the gun from the masked man, the robber pulled the trigger. A bullet struck Marvin in the throat. The shooter then ripped off the pillowcase, threw it down and slipped away. Marvin was rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, he died from his injuries on October 31, 1982, while on the operating table. Now, have you ever wondered where our fear of poisoned candy came from? The most infamous Halloween poisoning took place on October 31, 1974. That's when a Texas man named Ronald O'Brien gave cyanide-laced pixie sticks to 5 children, including his son. The other children never ate the candy, but his 8-year-old son, Timothy, did and died soon after. Though nobody saw O'Brien put the cyanide in the candy, investigators learned that O'Brien had recently taken life insurance policies out on his children. He was convicted of murder and executed via lethal injection in 1984. Though it's been decades since the crime, the Candyman murder still looms large in the memories of many parents on Halloween. As you know, O'Brien's attorney told the American Statesman in 2009, "My client was convicted of killing Halloween." But regardless of how horrific O'Brien's crime, it was no random act of Halloween havoc. since it was aimed directly at his children and their friends, not a trick or treaters. Perhaps because of O'Brien's notoriety, parents can be still skittish when it comes to Halloween candy. Authorities can be, too, despite the fact that rumors of randomly distributed poisoned candy or threats like apples that contain razor blades are nothing more than urban legends. In conclusion, Halloween has evolved through the years in many ways, and has a rich history of many tricks and many treats that will forever keep you on your toes. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a spooky thumbs up and subscribe for more content from us here at Summer Studios.